Have you heard that the Mediterranean diet is famous for its inclusion of foods high in omega-3 fatty acids? And wonder how you can get these into your diet right away? Well, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down for you the top food sources of omega-3 fatty acids so that you can reap all of the health benefits for your heart, your brain, and your whole body. Make sure to stick around till the end where I'm going to reveal for you some not so obvious ways to get these omega-3s into your diet. And hint, hint, this is going to be super important for those of you who are not huge fans of fish. Hey there, I'm Dr. Anna. I'm a medical doctor. I was trained in Italy, and on this channel, you will learn how to master the Mediterranean diet. So you've probably heard that the Mediterranean diet is famous for all of its heart-healthy properties. It has a lot of healthy foods, like lots of vegetables, fruits, whole grains, nuts and seeds, and omega-3 fatty acids. And these nutrients are often coming from foods that are so abundant inside of the Mediterranean diet. It's one of the reasons the Mediterranean diet is so healthy overall. But if you've never heard of omega-3 fatty acids, here's what you gotta know. They're a type of a nutrient in the body that is a type of fat. So it's an oil and it has a certain molecular structure. And we know from a lot of research studies that a lot of omega-3 fatty acids in the diet allows somebody to have a lower risk for a lot of chronic disease, things like hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, and so on and so forth. And it's even been shown to help decrease inflammation in the body. And inflammation is something that we also know is linked to so many diseases. So going a little bit deeper, some of these specific heart healthy properties are things like decreasing inflammation, which I mentioned before. And inflammation is one of the main drivers in cardiovascular disease, especially fatty plaque buildup that can lead to heart attacks and strokes. As well, omega-3 fatty acids in research studies have been linked to lowering triglyceride levels, help supporting healthy cholesterol levels in the bloodstream, and improving and regulating blood pressure. If you've learned something new so far, or if you're getting value out of this video, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. All right, so how do you get these omega-3 fatty acids into your diet? Which foods do you need to include? Well, by far the number one source of omega-3s in our diet is fish, and lots of different types of fish can provide this to us. There are so many types of fish that are good sources of omega-3s, but what is really important to remember is that fish can often contain levels of mercury, which is a heavy metal that can get inside of our bodies and cause damage at high levels. I have a link in the description below to the FDA's recommendation for which sources of fish to include at different levels of mercury. So go ahead, check that out if you want more information. Now, I'm willing to bet that maybe 40 or 50% of you watching this video right now are thinking to yourselves, I don't even like fish. So Dr. Anna, what could I eat? Well, don't worry, I got you covered. I'm about to break down for you several more sources of omega-3 fatty acids that you can include in your diet and don't have that fishy taste. So these are plant-based sources of omega-3s. And I will point out that there are different types of omega-3 fatty acids. Now, the kind that come from animals, so the fish, are something called EPA and DHA, while the plant sources are something called ALA. That is okay that they're different sources. All you gotta know is that as long as you're eating enough of it, your body can do the correct chemistry to get these things where they need to go. So by far, the best source of omega-3s from a plant are flaxseed oil, chia seeds, walnuts, whole flaxseed, and then other oils like canola oil and soybean oil. I'm gonna put in a little caveat here about soybean oil and canola oil. Yes, they do provide nutrition, but they often are very processed oils, and in general, there has been some linkage about processed oils causing an increased inflammation in our body. The literature is a little bit unclear about this, but I would recommend to you instead that a really safe choice is going to be some olive oil. And I talk a lot about the health benefits of olive oil in the diet on some other videos, so you want to check out my videos for that. All right, so now that we've covered some of the foods, you're probably wondering, how much do you actually need to meet your nutritional needs? So a way to think about this is that to reach a level where you're having enough omega-3s in your diet, which is roughly 250 to 500 milligrams a day, most of us are not thinking in terms of numbers. You're probably thinking, but how much food? So the recommendation is to have about 2 or more servings of fish a week. So that means either at your lunch or your dinner, at least 2 times a week, instead of eating meat, you should swap that out for fish. And however much you normally eat in a serving, that is probably the right amount for you. Or if you don't want to go for those fish sources, the recommendation is to have a tablespoon of seeds, so the flax seeds or the chia seeds, or a handful of walnuts every day. Now, in general, I don't recommend you just eat these things raw and dry. It's gonna taste terrible. And I wanna also point out that you don't actually have to eat it daily to get enough. So if you're thinking about getting enough walnuts, let's say you don't really like flax or chia seeds, but you'll do the walnuts, you don't need to have an actual handful every single day. You have to have the equivalent amount of about a handful a day. So let's say one morning for breakfast, you're going to have a yogurt parfait and you want to chop in some almonds and walnuts with maybe a seasonal fruit, and it ends up being about 2 handfuls. Well, you just hit your amount probably for 2 days. So you can think about it from a larger perspective, is how to get your nutrition over, let's say, a week's time. And now that rule of thumb is pretty good to apply to almost any nutrients. You don't have to think about that just in terms of omega-3s. You can also think about that in terms of, are you getting enough protein? Are you getting enough fiber? Are you getting enough healthy fats beyond omega-3 fatty acids? There's also some other types of fats that you want to incorporate. You get the idea. So my question for you now is, which of the foods that I talked about in this video is something that you already like to eat? And how do you usually eat it? I want you to comment below and share with us in our community of healthy eaters so that we can get some really fabulous ideas for how to include all of this nutritious food in our diets. And if this video has been useful for you, go ahead and hit that like button. Consider sharing it as well with somebody, or maybe even 2 or 3 people that you think could benefit from learning more about health and nutrition. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video and you're thinking to yourself, Dr. Anna talked about fish and some nuts and seeds that are good sources of omega-3s, but what about fish oil supplements? Well, I discussed that topic right over here in this video. It is a topic that people are always asking me about, and it's a very trendy topic as well, so you don't want to miss our discussion over there.